The woman who presided over the invasion of her state in New York of the migrants. Joining me now, Mike Huckabee, former Arkansas governor, Lisa Booth, Fox News contributor. Gov, out of all the Republicans that you know, does anything we just heard to describe any of them?
No, it's ridiculous, and I think they're hurting themselves. When you start calling people un-American, fascist, Nazi, anti-woman, the only thing that Kathy Hochul was right about was when she said we're anti-abortion. Yeah, we just honestly believe that every human life has value and worth, and that we shouldn't be arguing over at what point is it okay to kill an innocent baby. So, guilty on that front. But all this nonsense about Nazi and un-American, threat to democracy, it just doesn't really work, and that's about all they've had. But I guess if I were them, and I've had policies that for 4 years have miserably failed the American people and been a gut punch to American working families, I'd probably have to say something like that too, because they got nothing else. Nothing.
Yeah, 74% of the country says we're on the wrong track, Lisa. But Senator Fetterman from Pennsylvania, he decides he has a new name for Republicans who don't believe in the radical trans agenda. Check it out.
If your political capital, comes from picking on trans kids or gay kids or anything like that, you're just bankrupt throughout all of this. It's just sad that the other side choose to kind of pick on members of those communities. It's just a warped version of it doesn't make you tough. It just makes you an
Lisa.
Well, yeah, and murdering babies is freedom to them as well. You know, this is a party who completely has their priorities upside down. But make no mistake, Laura, the Democrat Party, they hate us. That's not being hyperbolic. They've told us they hate us. It's the old adage of when someone tells you who they are, believe them. And this is a party that has become drunk on power. They've controlled the White House the past 12 out of 16 years. They control the deep state, the government bureaucracy. They control the media. They control Hollywood. They control most of big tech as well. And why do they hate us? Because we as Trump supporters, as conservatives, we want to control our government. We don't want our government to control us. And they try to crush anyone who serves as a check on them. That's why they've gone after Donald Trump, why they've gone after Elon Musk. And even before Donald Trump, Laura, we had Obama's IRS going after the Tea Party as well.
Well, Governor, you were among the first, you and I and Pat Buchanan, who was a real populist, Rick Santorum. There were a few of them. And what's your message to the folks out there watching tonight who, see this, the landscape of just beyond nastiness coming from the left when we have so many real problems in this country?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a reminder that the elitists and the left and the academicians of this country, they hate working class people. Well, maybe that's too strong. I don't know if they hate us, but I'll tell you what, they hold us in contempt. They look down their very fine noses at the rest of us.
You're
and
too
it's
nice.
Just ridiculous. So Kamala Harris is only able to get any traction by changing every position she has, trying to go after those people the Democrats used to win. But she's changing her positions more than Cher changes costumes during a concert. She doesn't have a position other than we want to be in power so we can continue to crush the working class people of America. I just hope people will see through it. They'll show up and vote, and they'll realize that Donald Trump is the champion of the working class. And the Republican Party, thank God, is no longer the old Republican Party where even people like me didn't really fit in. It's now the party of working class people who love America first, who truly believe that this country is a great country with a terrific opportunity for people at the bottom to make it to the top. We can't lose that.
Lisa, on the states that may be flippable for Republicans, what are you seeing tonight? Again, given this new coalition, this new group of Republicans who, have come together even with some differences on some issues.
Well, there's so much hope when you look at the early voting. Laura, we're seeing historically high early voting. We've cut the registration gap in so many battleground states. I just got off the phone with the Sentinel Action Fund. Their whole objective is to chase low propensity voters and early voters. Look at Nevada and Pennsylvania alone. More than half of the early vote or returned mail-in ballots are low propensity voters, meaning these are people who normally don't show up. So what does that mean? That means there are a whole bunch of reliable Republican voters that can still show up before Election Day. There are still a whole bunch of low propensity voters to show up as well. Also, women tend to vote early men tend to wait until Election Day. So we are in a solid position heading into Tuesday. They hate us. If that doesn't motivate you to get out and vote for Trump, what does?
All right, Lisa, Governor Huckabee, thank you both.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.